Okay, so today it is Drew Estates La Vieja Habana. I think that's how you pronounce it. This one is going to be, I believe, a Cuban Corojo wrapper with Nicaraguan fillers, Nicaraguan and Honduran fillers. That's what the label looks like. Seen a couple of these on the channel lately because I bought cigars from each member of this line. Although I didn't receive the Maduro wrapper one, but whatever. So this is Drew Estates, one of their budget blends. So what I'll say about Drew Estate is the best cigar I ever had was a Drew Estate Liga Privada T52. I know I talked about it in another video. I had one of their factory cigars, and that was a really good budget cigar as well. Lots of complexity and lots of evolution. These guys, yeah, they're from the budget realm of cigars. I think it's like the lowest or the second lowest budget brand from Drew Estates. What I think is helpful with something like this is the fillers are basically the same in all the cigars. What's different is the wrappers. And I've had the Connecticut Shade Grown, and I've had a bigger version of the Cuban Corojo. I've not had the Maduro yet. I tried to order it. They messed my order up. There's a couple of videos on this channel talking about that. But what's good is you get basically the filler's the same, but the wrapper's different. And for people who are just starting smoking cigars, have been at it for a bit and are kind of working on their palate, this I think is really helpful because you can learn really quickly the impact of the wrapper. Got a little leaf falling on my cell phone, which is doubling as my lav mic. What I'll say about this particular cigar is I've never been a huge fan of Cuban cigars. This is a Cuban Corojo wrapper. It's a strong flavored wrapper that doesn't really fit my flavor profile. I know a lot of people who really like Cuban cigars are really going to like this because the wrapper impacts the flavor a lot. And this is a Cuban Corojo wrapper. In my opinion, what I've had of this line, the Connecticut Shade Grown, is better. Now, even in budget cigars, that's really where you're going to see the wrapper making even more impact. I had some Reposado Estate Blend cigars that were Connecticut Shade Grown wrapper. They're really nice. I also have ones that are Maduro wrapper that are really nice. In my opinion, from what I've had from this line, the Shade Grown is the better flavor for my profile. However, the impact of the Cuban wrapper on this one, I think, will mean it appeals to a lot of people who enjoy a Cuban cigar. I think I've said it before. The filler for these guys, for this lineup, the La Vieja Habana lineup, the filler is really similar to the flavor profile you get on a Quorum cigar. So the filler is kind of mild, and in this particular one, the Cuban ones, the flavor of the wrapper is bold and strong and dominates the palate. It's kind of one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of Cuban, but these guys are a budget-friendly product, and that's a good way, I find, to try a new cigar. Don't spend too much money. You know, like I said, I kind of got my rule of thumb is if the cigar is worth more than what you make in an hour, maybe you shouldn't smoke it. Unless it's a super special occasion, then why not go all out, right? I would. I don't got too much to say about this cigar particularly because it's okay. I will enjoy it. but its flavor profile is not necessarily in my wheelhouse. I do have a fancy glass with a fancy beverage, fancy watch, not so fancy cigar. I'm feeling fancy today. Although this guy here is just a limited edition, a vodka soda pop. It's called Tahiti Treat. As a little kid, I discovered Tahiti Treat, and I quite enjoyed it. It was my favorite pop. Let me show you. There it is. That can is right out of the 80s. That is pretty much what it looked like in the 80s. This is a fruit punch soda with vodka in it. Let me tell you what it tastes like. Grenadine. Just tastes like grenadine and a bit of citrus. That's it. It's got a nice color. It's pretty okay. However, as a grown-up, I am not as excited about this as I was as a kid. The last time I had one of these as a grown-up, probably a decade ago. I was at a place called Wasaga Beach, and they had a fancy candy store there that had some fancy soda pops, and one of them had the Tahiti Treat. I definitely think this is it for sweet alcoholic beverages for me for the duration of this summer, unless someone's offering me something for free. Just not my cup of tea. Last few videos basically in the last few weeks, I've kind of gone down a nostalgic road. I have picked up a couple tall cans of beer I used to drink when I was younger, and now I have a grown-up version of the soda pop that I drank all the time when I was younger. And I think this rounds it out, and my trip down memory lane is over with for now. It's plenty good to go down a trip of memory lane every now and then. What's not good is getting stuck in the past and thinking about how things were better back then. I see a lot of people posting stuff like that on the internet and talking about how life was better when they were younger. These people the people I know who are doing really well for themselves, I kind of understand like wanting to reminisce, but getting stuck in it, I did that for a while. My late 20s, I was stuck down memory lane, and it didn't serve me well at all. I just sat around dreaming about the good old days and not doing anything to make these the next good old days. See, that's the thing. When you're 30 or 40, you think about when you were on the football team or the wrestling team in high school, the Al Bundy thing. I played high school football and I was good at it. And if you spend too much time in that, you're not going to make the memories today to look back on when you're 60, right? Living in the past is not a great thing to do. Not for anyone. Comes down to these cigars. I like to smoke them now and then. This is a hobby I really embraced in after I turned 40, really. I would smoke cigars every now and then before that, but it's a hobby I embraced as I got older. When I bought my house, when I wanted to be outside and enjoying the weather, but not doing nothing. I mean, you're kind of doing nothing when you're smoking a cigar, but you're also kind of doing something. You're enjoying the flavors, critiquing it, breaking it down, figuring what you like and don't like about it. And it occupies the mind in what I believe is a healthy way. What do I get off of this bad boy? Bitter cereal notes. That's kind of it. Like Raisin Bran without the raisins. Kind of black coffee, but not really. Not the flavor profile that I thoroughly enjoy. I have to admit, so far the only one I tried of this series that I really like and really recommend is the Shade Grown Connecticut Wrapper. That was really nice. It was actually exceptionally nice. I believe I covered it on this channel, and I believe I sung its praises quite loudly. This, man, you like that Cuban flavor profile? You're going to get a fair bit of it in here. You don't know where you are in your flavor profile and you're kind of a novice cigar smoker, grab one or two from each part of this lineup. That'll help you get your bearings, and they're pretty budget friendly, so you'll know by the time you're done whether you like a Cuban wrapper or a Shade Grown wrapper or a Maduro wrapper, and then you can continue your cigar journey from there. Now, I got a few, 4 of these guys, the Cuban wrapper ones, and I had already smoked it's an even bigger size than this. This is a Robusto. I forget what the other one is. And so I'm kind of know the flavor notes. So we're not going to come back when I'm down half or down a third. And I'll just tell you, this one does not evolve that much. It kind of just stays, you know, where it is, consistent through the flavor profile. Like I said, I like that strong Cuban flavor profile. This has got it for you from start to finish. Not a lot of evolution. I suggest enjoying something sweet with it, having it after a meal, because with Cuban, I find I can get nauseous smoking Cuban cigars. Well, if it's tobacco, if the filler and the wrapper is Cuban. If it's just the wrapper is Cuban, I'm okay. But because of the strength of the Cuban tobacco, if you got filler, if you got wrapper, it's all Cuban all the way through. You're going to want to eat a nice meal up front, have something sweet to drink while you're enjoying it, and then from there, you're good to go. And if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Otherwise, do your best. Take it easy, whenever you can. It's okay to live life fast, but it's a little better to live life slow. That's my opinion anyways. Slanjavad.